Hi, this is Joshua Ponsafo of the New African Concept. You are welcome to Ghana Matters, a monthly overview of major highlights that did happen in Ghana and possibly around the world. For the month of April, especially in Ghana, there were not so many major stars that did happen. But where we would like to focus our laser for a brief discussion would be the report that has been released actively by Loud Silence TV and then following by other media spaces concerning the report on Galamsey. Now, this report has been authenticated as true by Professor Frimpong Boateng. We all know the commitment that our president, that is His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, upon resuming his seat, made, that he was even ready to put his presidency on the line in order to fight Galamsey. He drove this commitment by setting up a committee that will be running these things. The chairperson, or the one who was heading this committee, was Professor Frimpong Boateng. Now, in 2021, he tendered in a report, a 35-page report that chronicled what he did, the limitations, the struggles, and then all that they endured. It is quite surprising that for 2 years now, since it was submitted to the presidency, nothing has been made about it. In fact, it has not even surfaced for discussion, and have not been any practical efforts in order to curtail or to derail it. We don't know how, but ultimately Kevin Taylor of the Loud Silence TV, released it, and then from there it has become a major discussion over the month of April. Now, there are 2 or 3 things I want us to extract. I took time over a short while to read word for word, personally, the 35-page document as released by Professor Frimpong Boateng concerning the Galamsey. And it is somewhat appalling. It The first thing is that it is crystal clear that unfortunately our president is not really committed to fighting the menace of Galamsey. Because for the president, and then what it has been more of sloganeering that we want to take away Galamsey, but the commitment and then efforts, to me, and then what we observe, is quite minimal. And I believe that if a person and a system is committed to fighting this menace, then the input must be much more than this. But far beyond that, when you consider the report, you will realize that the very reason why Ghana as a nation, we are not advancing, boils back to what we at the New African Concept, we've been saying over and over and over again. Now, to run a nation, there is what we call the tangibles and then the intangibles. What we call or refer to tangible are the legislative elements, the things that are backed by constitution and other legislative documents. Those are the tangibles. Now, those ones, when you break them, they are punishable by law. There are the intangibles, which are mostly attitudinal and institutional. That is what within our cortex we have been calling value systems. Now, regardless of how sophisticated the tangible constitutional and legislative documents and then laws are, without the strength of the intangibles, the tangible will fall apart. So the intangibles at work in Ghana, what I call intangibles, is exactly what we call the value systems. We've repeatedly said that nations are not successful because of their geographical location. Nations are not successful because of their natural resources. Nations are successful because of the quality of their value systems or because of the quality of their intangibles. Now, anytime or anyone who reads the report will just draw the conclusion as we have always drawn, that the poverty of our value system is our greatest woe, is our greatest bane. So there are intangibles or values like favoritism, greed, selfishness, personal pursuit, a quest for superiority and dominion, tribalism, divisional tribalism, adversarial partisanship. All these are examples of our weak value system that will get us nowhere. And as we have always chronicled, until there is a reorientation, or a rebuilding of the ethical foundations of Ghana, our laws, though intact and very good, will mean nothing. So let me give you an example. Now, in the report, he made complaints of how that certain people within the government themselves, and he made mention of some specific names, that these were people like Lord Comey and Co, according to the report, that these guys at the presidency were actively engaged or are actively engaged in the galamsey. How do you fight a menace when you have ministers actively engaged in galamsey? And when he makes a move, he gets calls from the likes of Gabriel Tredaku and Co, compelling him to what? To set the confiscation free. So that is the kind of system we are building. According to him, he replied, or he made mention of it a number of times to the president. And the president's response was that, okay, he has heard it. He will deal with it. And nothing has been made. Nothing has been made. So if we have the intangible value system like, favoritism, it will always hamper the tangible laws. For instance, if because of favoritism, what happens is that if we catch a thief, na say ye jano say ye de no ko police station, sa thief okwa MPB betimi afre police station aka say o jano munya no, if he say akwara machi no oyeme wo faase. So there is the tangible constitutional law which says that the wakoye no e will say otua ne soka, either say he will be imprisoned or he will be fined. But there is the weak value system of favoritism, and because of that, obefre police inspector catch and say, oh munjano na oyeme wo faase. Then just within 2 or 3 days, this armed robber or this thief is left parading in the community again because a certain big man who is supposedly above the law called the inspector. So have you seen? The law is not able to work because there is a weakness of value system. So the running of the nation is not just the availability of good laws. The laws are good and pristine in their presentation and disposition, but unfortunately, these intangibles will always underpin and undermine the full expression of these things. So there is mob violence or jungle violence where people catch a thief and then they kill the armed robber or they kill the thief. And to some extent, when you ask them, Omekachi say, Ujana or call police station na obekwa kutie sika. Na police for no ejano. So the average citizenry, they believe or they think that the laws are unable to work. And then the police department is so corrupt that this armed robber can bribe his way and then go scot-free. So because they don't have faith or believe in the judicial system, they don't have faith or believe in the police system, they will prefer to kill the thief rather than sending him to the police station, because they need to give him 2 or 3 days. We need better or some any namhobium. These are the things we keep on saying, that if we want to move on as a nation, it is not just about the tangible laws, but much more, it is about the intangible value systems. And the weakness of these value systems have actually rendered the juiciness of the law impotent. Until the solution is not about setting up more ministries, as our president tried doing, and setting up the special prosecutor. The special prosecutor, Martinemi Due Free, so new one iba. There has been only Martinemi Due, there has not been a single prosecution, because the system that leads to the appointment, say, then obe appointee obia obetumai den a control no. Ana opese oye adwuma no. At the end of the day, nkrofo na ye di omu eko court no, omu nyina ye MPP bigwigs or maybe NDC bigwigs. How can you, what ebullience do you have that you'll be able to take your own party faithfuls and ministers to court? In this year, no, we are wasting time. We are wasting resources on a lot of these things. Why? Because we think it is about getting council of state, about getting special prosecutor, about getting new and then other portfolios. No, there is an internal weakness. What are we saying? What we are saying, to wrap up for the month of April, I will recommend that everyone gets a copy and then read the 35-page document, and then it will be shocking to you how that the fight for Galamsey is still nowhere near the end. And at the end of the day, our water bodies are getting destroyed. Mercury, cyanide, and other things are polluting it. Some of these stuffs are also teratogenic, which means that they can have effect on unborn children. We shouldn't be surprised if 10 or 20 years time we start having kinds of children with certain physical impairments like blindness, like 1 ear gone. These are teratogenic effects out of the Galamsey that we are doing. I am calling on everyone that the building of the nation of Ghana is not a reserve for the political elite, but rather it is a burden and a responsibility on every citizen. I strongly believe that Ghana is going to change. I strongly believe that a new Africa is, within a reign of formation, but it is possible together. Let us fight together, and together we will be able to build a new Ghana. As we have always said, we have a world to shake. We have a continent, Africa, to liberate. We have a nation, Ghana, to save. And definitely, we have the church to reform. God richly bless you, and we will meet for the May edition.